This is your host, Tia. This is your host, Tia. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Top 10. Live. Geek Vibes Nation. Geek Vibes Nation. Nation. The Top 10. The Top 10. All right, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Top 10 by Geek Vibes Nation. I'm your host, Tia, as always, and I have with me the amazing Brittany. How you doing, Brittany?
I'm amazing. I have a severe lack of cats lately. I know loving. I'm gonna literally wither away.
As always, I have Lady the dog next to me. She is my shadow. She does not go anywhere. She is always by my side, so it's a good day. You know, it's a good day when she's around.
It's a good day when you got a dog, right?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to start this podcast by asking you, and I'm kind of stealing this segment a little from They Call This a Movie, because I thought it would be a little fun. And we probably won't do it every single week, but I wanted to ask this week, Brittany, what are you watching?
No, leave me alone. Don't call me out like this.
Well, I'll go first. I'll go first and let you know that recently, yesterday, we watched both Godzilla vs. Kong and we watched the new Mortal Kombat movie.
Was Godzilla vs. Kong, was that good?
I actually really liked it. I saw Skull Island and really enjoyed it. I never got to see Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I know that those three movies are kind of one after the other. But I didn't think that I really needed to see Godzilla King of the Monsters to kind of get the story. They kind of explained everything in the beginning, like, oh, in Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla was the good guy. But now in this movie, he seems like an agitated fucker, and Kong is very much highlighted as the hero in the movie, whereas Godzilla is kind of the villain for most of the movie. He is such a dick. There was at some point that Pauline and I were sitting there going like, why is Godzilla being a dick right now?
Right? I was gonna say, he's normally like, yeah, he don't like being fucked with, but he'll save people.
Well, and that's what they kept saying in the movie. They were saying he was the savior, he saved us, and now he's just running rampant. But it makes sense, especially at the end of the movie. They give a really good explanation as to why Godzilla is being the way he is. And I thought it was a well-done movie. When you see those movies, you don't really care about the plot. You just want to see the two monsters go against each other. And you get a lot of that, which is good. It wasn't like a Transformers where 80% of the movie is the humans talking.
What, you don't like explosions? You don't like nearly having a seizure? All the lights going off to you? God.
Yeah. Michael Bay's movies definitely were needed epilepsy warnings in the beginning of them.
Yeah, they did. But yeah. I was gonna say I want to see Mortal Kombat. I want to see that one. Lately, I've just been obsessively watching Invincible, and it's kind of a problem. but yeah, having Invincible, he's a cool character. His dad's way hotter though. It makes me think of Jesse's mom has got it going on, except it's Mark's dad's got it going
on. Yeah, I wanted to highlight that because Brittany's been obsessed with Invincible. She's been bringing it up all the time, which is fine because I'm sure all of you who are out there listening to this are also watching Invincible. I feel like it's taken the internet by storm. I see nothing but good things about Invincible.
I know. I was gonna say, I didn't expect, sometimes, when you kind of get it suggested in your YouTube, you're just like, oh, I wonder if anybody else has heard of this, and you're like, oh yeah, people have definitely heard about it. People people know about it.
Yeah, our own associate Dom has been watching it and praising it. So I trust Dom. He's our, designated reviewer at Geek Vibes Nation. He literally was just accepted into the Critics' Choice Academy, which is awesome. So I trust his word when he says that it's good. So I definitely have to check out Invincible. But yeah, I wanted to take that moment to highlight that. That's not what the podcast is about today. We are probably less than, 2 weeks away from Mother's Day. And I want to kind of get this out there because we love our moms. We love mom figures out there. And we just, moms are the best. So we want to do a top 10 moms in TV and movies. I know we've done this before because we like to try to kind of be on the nose with holidays, but I'm sure we have an updated list this time, so it'll be fun.
It will be fun. Because I was sitting there, I was looking at my list, and I was like, I don't think I put any of these on last time.
Yeah, I can't remember, and I didn't go back to watch it. I probably should have. I've not listened, but whatever. Yeah, no, I'm excited. This Mother's Day is May 9th, I think I saw. So, it's cool. You got 2 weeks to plan to get, Ma something if you haven't gotten Ma anything already. But yeah.
Aww.
Before we get into the list, I always got to give our friends over at Stranger Damies a quick shout out. As I said, I kind of stole their other podcast. They called this movie their segment about what you've been watching beforehand. I thought it was fun. But make sure you listen to both of their podcasts, both Stranger Damies and They Call This a Movie, if you want to hear those guys, and you definitely should because they are entertaining as hell. Mark, Dan, and Anthony are awesome. They do a D&D podcast, which is Stranger Damies. It premieres every Wednesday. You can check them out over at Stranger Damies on Twitter and Instagram. They're just awesome. They love what they do. They're in the middle of their second campaign, and so make sure you check them out. You can also check out They Call This Movie, where they review bad movies every week. Tell them that Tia and Brittany sent you, and yeah, they're cool people, so make sure you check them out. But Brittany, let's get into this top 10 moms in TV and movies. Give us your number 10.
Let me see here. Let me bring up my list. One of my cats, Whiskey, decided he really wanted my love, and he decided to try to crawl up on the top of my head while I was looking. So let me see here. I love cats, but golly. I'm gonna go. You're gonna kind of laugh at me. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Charlotte from Charlotte's Web, and I have an explanation because she freaking became like a basically an adopted mother to Wilbur, right? It was Wilbur, right? I'm thinking of Babe. That was so I was like trying not to get the name mixed up. Did you watch Babe growing up?
Oh my god, I was just talking about the movie Babe like a few weeks ago where I was trying to ask Paulie, like, do you remember that movie? Because I said, that'll do, pig, that'll do. And he's like looking at me like, what the hell?
Dude, that movie's so good. I always used to get their names mixed up, though. But, Charlotte was, like, a great, mother figure to Wilbur and, basically making these webbings so that that Wilbur could live and that he would be fascinating and too good for them to make bacon out of and go through the life cycle. And well, I don't know, I know it's going to be kind of a short one. I was just kind of like looking through and I was like, that really was just very selfless to try to go out of your way. And remember, she worked tirelessly doing that for him. Like, because even like with her like last dying breath, basically was trying to make one last like, web for him so that, people could be like, look, what a pig, like all these little like, letterings on the web so that, he could live. And I think at the end, she does make the ultimate sacrifice where she reaches the end of her life cycle. And, and she's telling Wilbur not to cry, but, she ends up using the last little bit, too, to have her own babies. And, Wilbur raises them because it was kind of like, okay, you took care of me and raised me, I'll raise your babies. And I don't know. I just always thought there was something so sweet and, Charlotte's voice is so soothing, by the way. And I remember, as a kid, I was like, I think at first I was like, ugh, spider. And then I watched it. I was like, I love spiders. I love them all, especially if they save little piggies.
Can I tell you that Charlotte's Web made me cry as a kid? It did, because of the whole, because Charlotte was so, what you wanted from a mother figure, that sounds bad because I had everything with my mom. I still do, growing up. But I mean, she's just so, her character is just so warm and comforting, which you wouldn't expect from a spider.
Yeah. Well, like I said, she literally did everything to just make sure he could live. Well, I can't remember what animal was making fun of him. It was like, oh, when you get big and fat, the farmer, is going to come for you. And Wilbur's like, no, you piglet. It was horrifying. Just basically I got you, baby. I got you, baby.
Well, which, it always made me feel bad because growing up you see things like Babe or Charlotte's Web, and the pig is always so cute. And you're like, oh no, that poor pig, as you're eating bacon.
I know, it was always the worst. I know they say pigs are so incredibly smart. I will say I could probably go my entire life without eating pig or pork. I'm just not a big fan of it. Even bacon, I'm not a super, super for a while there it was very in to love bacon.
I mean, I love bacon.
I like bacon. I just say I was always like, if I could swear off one animal, it would probably be pork. Sorry, cows. You're kind of mine.
Not to get into an ethical sort of discussion, but I could not give up pig. I could give up cows because I don't really eat that much beef. I don't really eat hamburgers. If I order from Shake Shack or any of the sort of fast food places, I always end up getting the chicken sandwich. Or even if I go to a restaurant, if they have, say, a turkey burger option, I go with it. I'm just not the biggest fan of red meat like that. But I eat bacon, right? I'm an Italian American. All of our cold cuts are made out of pig.
Oh, shit. It was a cultural thing too from that aspect because of that, but yeah, the
ham, salami, supersada, mortadella, fucking prosciutto, pancetta.
Oh man, I feel it's all pig. But yeah, I don't know why. I just thought that was looking back through things. So I was like, you know what, Charlotte, I think it goes to show not all mothers are, the ones that give birth to you. You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, love the way that you started off this number 10. Great job. In the spirit of that, my number 9 is also a mother figure. And it's all I think this way, but it's also in honor of the actress Helen Mccrory, who unfortunately passed away this past week. She was 53 years old. She unfortunately had cancer, and she played the most amazing Aunt Pole from Peaky Blinders.
No,
and I have to put her down for the number 9 because she was an amazing aunt to all of those guys, and they were not easy to, be around. Freaking Tommy, Arthur, John, freaking all of that. But whatchamacallit, she was She was a hard ass. I loved her. She was such a badass, just completely amazing. But she really cared about all of the boys and, really did everything she could throughout the series to kind of, just keep the family together and do what she could. And then when she even got reunited with her own son, Michael, like everything she did to try to like have a relationship with him, because I don't know if you remember, but I believe it was in the second season where she, finds out about him, and he really at some point didn't want a relationship with her, and she really tried everything to make sure that they could have a relationship. And it was just like, I love her character. All right. I loved Aunt Pole. It's not just about the character. I like the actress as well. I'm so sad to hear about. That's just such a dynamic character to leave behind. And for 5 seasons, we got an amazing character who was a badass and literally just took life by the balls.
We loved her, and that is the thing that she, even though her children were taken away from her because they were like, oh, she's unfit, which I don't remember her, like, I guess like at some point did they say she struggled with drugs, or what was it, or did they just deem her unfit because she was a single mother, and kind of that kind of aspect. Well, we've seen how she could be, but I wouldn't think that she'd be unfit. But it's like how she never stopped looking for her children. And even then, her son, she didn't force him away, because I think that was Tommy's thing, was like, hey, he's got a mother that raised him, you just can't come in and just take him, which was a good fair point on that, but she did start to lose control of that little fucker throughout the series. Like, Jesus Christ, he wanted to be just like Tommy. But I was gonna say, another aspect, what was the sister's name again? I can't remember.
Ava.
Yeah, and her like relationship with her, because especially in that time, with Mr. Communist Man, getting her pregnant, and and something that was so frowned upon, giving her a choice to get out of it, I think says a lot for that kind of time period, but respected that she wanted to keep the baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, if I remember correctly, she told Tommy and the others how bad of an idea it was in the first season to let their father back in their lives, which we saw that it didn't go well. And I think she was the one who was mad at Tommy for not having Arthur on his medication. Because if you remember, what was it, the first 2 seasons, Arthur was out of control and he was supposed to be taking medication that Tommy was stopping him from taking, because he's like, I need Arthur to be this bulldog sort of a person. And, Aunt Pole was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's your brother and he's sick, and you're not allowing him to take what he needs in order to be better.
Yeah. Man, that was a rough, Arthur was bad for a while, and then he just found he got on the straight and narrow, but he became super good boy, to the point where I was like, is this really even him right now?
I love the scene where Alfie, is it Alfie? Right? Alfie. Tom Hardy's character. Alfie. I don't know why I said Alfie for a second. But freaking, that's because that's Kelly's cat, Albie. I was like, what? But when Alfie was kind of goading Arthur, when Arthur was so good, and freaking, Alfie was kind of teasing him for it, I believe in the 3rd season, and I was like, oh man, you could see Arthur was just stewing.
Right, because freaking Alfie about killed him in the 2nd season.
Oh my god, but yeah, I loved Aunt Pole. I thought that she was a great character, is a great character, and it's hard wrangling all of those freaking boys.
Shelby siblings, oh my god, every single one of them is like monsters.
Exactly.
It's sad that one of the brothers is dead. Spoiler alert, everyone. But, I mean, it's been out a while. Come on now.
Can I tell you that I hated when John was killed off? Because
I know! John.
I didn't really like Michael that much, and I was like, and they gave like Michael a bigger role after John was killed, and I said to myself, come on, we lost John to get more Michael. It should have been the other way around.
Michael just wanted to be a fucking gangbanger.
That's exactly what it was.
Like the violence of it.
John's whole thing just cracked me up because didn't he have like 9 kids or something? Because he all
fucking kids, and because he needed a wife.
Because the whole thing was before the show, he had already had something like 5 kids with his wife who passed away. And then they said, okay, well, we'll get you a new wife. And then I think he had like 3 freaking kids with that. And I was like, this guy, there's like a million of them running around.
Wasn't like, okay, like he lost his wife and I think she lost her husband and they were like, this is a marriage of convenience.
I think he was forced to marry her because she was from like a gypsy faction that was having problems with Tommy.
Yes. Oh, because they were like, I remember. It was because they were like, they're like, your kids need a mother.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Paul was the one also who was pushing him, saying your kids need a mom. So, but yeah, that's my number 9. Love Peaky Blinders, such an amazing show, and of course, rest in peace, Helen. You left a phenomenal legacy behind. But Brittany, what's your number 8?
I'm gonna go with Miss Honey from Matilda.
Oh yes.
Did you watch Matilda growing up?
Girl, I'm the nostalgia queen. Of course I watched Matilda.
Oh my god, it was so good. For those that may have not seen Matilda, Matilda was great because it's about a little girl who's born into a severely, how would you say, negligent family. Her father's a crook. He owns like a car dealership, like of used cars, and he purposely sabotages them so that they will have to come buy another car from him, which I don't know how that goes, because if somebody sold you a lemon, would you not go back to the same place? I mean, or you get what I mean. It's awful.
It wasn't a good logic.
Yes, and the mother was very shallow, very like, I have to be beautiful. I'm gorgeous, baby, kind of like personality. And they have a son who definitely gets preferential treatment, probably because he's a lot like them. Well, Matilda's brilliant. She loves to read. I don't think they were really taking her to school. She's not given the opportunity to really flourish mentally, and she ends up, getting, I think, like her brother's books or like, books, and then she ends up going to the library when she's like 4 years old, like walking her little self over to the library. Like, she's incredibly smart. Thing is though, she begs her parents to be able to go to school, which I don't know why it took her so long to be able to be allowed to go to school, because she begs them. She begs them to take her to school, and which is really depressing. And so she ends up going to school. She ends up having a very amazing teacher named Miss Honey, who's dealing with her own abusive situation where her, was it her dad's sister or sister-in-law? I can't remember.
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I think it's like her aunt, actually. I think her aunt ends up, you find out later on, she murdered her father because he was very wealthy, ended up inheriting all the stuff until like Miss Honey was supposed to come of age. But the thing is though, Miss Honey is so under her control that she can't really get those things back. I think she basically was controlling the will or something like that. Well, Miss Honey is so supportive of Matilda. She gets her books, tells her she's beautiful, tells her, that she's perfect, that she's just, everything that she really needed from a mother figure. And they really deserve each other because Matilda, on her aspect, she's trying to get something back, I think, from Miss Honey in the home. It kind of fast forwards. Miss Honey, the parents, also played by Danny DeVito, end up going on the run from the law. Matilda begs them to sign the adoption papers so Miss Honey could adopt her instead, and they live happily ever after. And it was just very sweet to have, Miss Honey adopted her without like a second thought. She was just like, "Yes, this is my baby. This is my baby now." And what was like really like fascinating about it is they didn't have like a romance for Miss Honey. It was just someone that was a single person wanting to have a child and showing that it was like, single mothers can be a single mother by choice and just wanting, someone to love and take care of. And I don't know, I just thought it was really sweet.
Really quick, you know who the parents in Matilda remind me of?
Who?
Did you ever watch James and the Giant Peach growing up?
No, I did not. I used to always see the commercials play on the VHS, and I would always be like, "That looks good." You said the parents suck, though.
The aunts suck. The whole thing is that his parents, James's parents, are killed in the beginning of the movie, so he has to go live with his aunts, and they're the most horrible, horrific women you have ever seen. So it kind of, and in that movie, James has mother figures in that. So it just reminded me of it really quick. But I love Matilda. You know why I loved Matilda? Because I wanted powers. Growing up, I was like, oh
yeah, I neglected to say that she has telekinetic powers.
Yeah, she has telekinetic powers. It's so funny you bring up Matilda, because I saw a meme on Instagram, which was the scene of Matilda and her friend watching was the kid who had to eat the cake and everything, and
the entire confection.
And the caption was, "Kids these days will never know how tense this scene was." And it's like, do you remember when the woman was like, "I made it with my blood, sweat, and tears," and you really believe that it was made with her blood?
She's like, well, that's where the entire confection comes from, because Miss Trunchbull or whatever the hell her name was is like, "You must finish the entire confection," and the old lady's like, "The entire confection." That's I don't know why that always used to make me laugh as a kid.
No, but I really liked Matilda. I thought it was so okay. I'm trying to get my words together. The best thing that her real parents ever did was sign away her adoption papers for Miss Honey.
I know.
She pretty much was like, "You guys are shit parents, and literally the kindest thing that you could ever do is just let me be this woman's daughter." And and I don't know if you remember looking back, you kind of saw a moment where the mom kind of looked as if she was hesitant, because maybe then she was realizing well, this is my daughter and I have been shit to her, but then finally realizing that we can never provide her the life that she wants. And so I just remember that scene just being so good at the end, especially when you watch it for the first time and you're like, yes, Matilda gets to have this beautiful life with Miss Honey. It's amazing.
Miss Honey had that little cottage. I remember.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
Between the name, I don't know Mrs. Honey, what Miss Honey's first name was. I gotta look it up because it's gonna bother me. Miss Honey, Matilda. I don't know if they had. Oh, her name was Jennifer. Jennifer Honey.
Jennifer.
And her father was Magnus Honey, and I always thought that freaking and it was she's the step niece of Agatha.
Oh, okay.
Magnus is a badass fucking name though. Hell yeah.
You didn't watch WandaVision, but it was Agatha all along.
Agatha all along. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Even though I haven't seen it, I've seen the memes. I've seen the memes, dude.
Quick spoilers for WandaVision. There's a neighbor called Agnes, and she gets revealed as this villain, Agatha Harkness. and there's literally a song that gets played when the big reveal happens, and it literally is like, it was Agatha all along.
Oh shit!
It was a bop. Like, just like The Witcher, toss a coin to your Witcher was a bop. It was Agatha all along was a bop.
Dude, now I feel like I need to be watching this. Well, I need to watch it anyway, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I was gonna say, girl, get on it. But yes.
I know.
Miss Honey from Matilda, amazing. I love Matilda. I want to go back and rewatch it. I get scared sometimes because I think of that movie so fondly, and I hope that as an adult, I don't feel a different way.
It aged well, Tia. It aged well.
Oh, did you watch it recently?
Well, not super recently, but I've watched it so many times as like a young adult. Like, I'm still a young adult, but like in my like very, very early 20s, like 2021, I had rewatched it. It was still just as good.
Oh, okay, good. Awesome. So great, number 8. I'm going to hit number 7. And I'm going to get another mother figure. And this might be a little unconventional, but I too was trying to pick ones that I hadn't remembered if I had picked or not last time. And I'm going to do Red from Orange is the New Black.
Oh, good.
A very unconventional mother, but if you remember in the show, they referred to her as mom and mother. And especially the relationship that she had with Nikki, right? That was her name?
Yeah.
The relationship that she had with Nikki was very much one of a mother and a daughter, especially because, so like, Red was the mother hen, extremely protective of her girls. We saw throughout the seasons that if anyone was fucking with the girls who were under her care, she had a huge problem with it. She had a huge problem with drugs, right? That was one of her things with Nikki. That
she also tried to starve Piper.
Oh, that was hilarious. I'll get to that in a sec. I was going to say that, she got Nikki off of drugs, and anytime she heard that, someone was trying to get someone back on drugs, she had a problem. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she was a badass mother hen. If you haven't watched Orange is the New Black, I mean, it's been on for years. And the first episode was so hilarious to me because you have Piper, who we did mention last week when we did our top 10 worst couples. And we mentioned Alex and Piper. And we mentioned how entitled Piper always was. So Piper gets to jail, and obviously jail food is not good at all. So she's sitting with Nikki and a few of the other girls, and she sees Red handing them all yogurts, and she hands Piper a yogurt because she assumes, like, oh, well, Piper's going to be part of my crew now. And Piper goes, oh, thank you. The food is awful here. And you find out that Red controls the kitchen, and then literally for a whole episode afterward, Piper cannot eat. And the thing is, like, everyone listens to Red. When Piper goes to get food, no one serves her, and then even the other inmates won't even give her anything because they're like, no, Red said you are persona non grata, you get nothing.
Well, what's persona non grata? What does that mean?
Oh, God. I have to look it up because it was just one of those things where you always say you, like, know what it means.
Yeah. No, but I remember always saying it, but I was like, I never figured out what that actually meant.
It means an unacceptable and unwelcomed person.
Oh, shit.
So, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I loved Red. I don't know. I know this is a stretch and it's kind of weird, but I was thinking about it.
I love it because, that was part of the reason she got so protective when, Porn Stash, he gave that girl the drugs and made it look like she hung herself. And, Red really cared about that girl. I can't remember her name off the top of my head because she died so early on into the series. But that was very depressing. That really deeply affected her because she worked so hard to get that girl clean, and that's why she was so upset with Pornstash, because when he started to take control like he did and making her funnel in drugs, that was our whole big thing, was making these girls not be on drugs, and then being a part of it was very hard.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like one of her problems, remember in season 2, V, the villainous woman who gets hit by a car at the end?
Oh God, the one that was like the mom figure to
Tasty and
Tasty, yeah.
everything. But wasn't V having them do bad things such as smuggling drugs? And I think Red had a problem with that because she's like, you're supposed to be a good mother figure, to these girls, and you're not being one. You're instead making them worse. I could have sworn that was a reason too why Red had a problem with V. I also remember that they used to be friends, so they had a lot of history.
That's crazy. Everybody's interconnected to you.
But yeah, so I like Red from Orange is the New Black as a mother figure. She may be a scary Russian lady who is in prison for, I never really understood what Red was in prison for, but something
Red was starting to get, correct me if I'm wrong, because she was a part of, I think her husband had a restaurant or some kind of deli shop that the Russian mob would frequent quite often.
They extorted them.
Yeah, they extorted them, and I think she started to get big with them. But the thing is that the Russian mobsters' wives were so petty towards Red, and making her feel like less than nothing. And Red started to really get in with the Russian mob and become someone within it. But she ends up I think getting into an altercation with one of the Russian mobsters' wives and pushes her, and it ruptures her breast implant. Yeah.
But
so she got
I feel like that's not enough to be, because they make it seem like Red has been in prison for a really long time, and as if she's never going to get out of prison.
I don't think it would have killed that girl, but I think maybe if it's Russian mobsters, which are notorious for bribes, and maybe those type situations.
Yeah, that's true. But doesn't she start yelling at the other mobster wife? She's like, "It was fucking funny. It's a joke," because she's trying to say this joke. Because you could tell she's a little more brass than the others. They're very posh and stuck up, and they're like, "No, we don't get your humor." They
were very waspy to her.
Yeah,
our word of the day again, Tia.
But yeah, so Red from Orange is the New Black is my number 7. Brittany, what is your number 6?
Let me see here, my friend. We're getting very posh sounding here.
Yeah, it's very posh. Sure.
Because I ended up doing, Miss Honey, but I'm trying to think of who else I want to do, because I have 3 more, correct?
C.
I'm gonna go with kind of a silly one. Is that who I want to do though? Oh, there's too many, Tia. There's too many. I'm gonna go with Andy's mom. I wanted to put that a little bit lower, but I got too excited over the others. Andy's mom was pretty good. There's the point where she's that dude wants to buy Woody so badly, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't want to use this one. I was going to go with Andy's mom, but that was going to be a quick one. Shit. But my other one I don't remember as well. Maybe you remember it as well, Tia. But I was torn between, these are the 2 I was going to say. Either Andy's mom, Mrs. Brisby from, what was it called? What was it called? Wait, what's that movie called? Give me a second. My other 2 are really strong. It's just this one I cannot remember. From The Secret of NIMH.
I never saw that.
Tia! Tia!
That's
You
how
never watched The Secret of Nim? And my other was Helen Parr from The Incredibles.
I never saw The Incredibles. So.
Bitch! Okay. You know what? I know who I'm gonna go with. Give me just a second. I just have to like remember her name real quick because I always just called her the mom from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh yeah.
Lois Wilkerson. Okay, I'm gonna go with Lois Wilkerson because as a child watching Malcolm in the Middle, so Lois was always like very intense, right? Like very like the one was like, do not anger the mother, type character. Like you don't go against the family type mom.
Yeah.
And and I always used to sit there because you had Hal, who's kind of like, who ended up on My Best Fathers, right? Played by Bryan Cranston.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole time as a kid, I was like, man, she's such a hard ass. She's so mean, But as an adult, she has 4 fucking little monster children. Actually, I think by the end of the series, she ends up having 5 sons who are all little fuckers that are all getting into trouble, causing, like thousands of dollars worth of damage like every episode, the shit they're getting into. And she's working I think at a grocery store, and I can't remember where Hal works, but them trying to exist together, and you're like, shit, she's something to put up with a lot. And I think there's even an episode where Lois is like, I would love to be the fun parent, and I would love to not be such a hard ass, but someone has to do it. And, I'm trying to take care of all of you, you'll understand when you're older, that's why I can't always be so fun loving. And I thought that spoke a lot because you want to be like hard on her, for being like, oh, the evil mom, like, because there's parts where Hal is like, I will pay you not to tell your mother that this happened because I don't want to hear her scream, But you realize, I think at some point, like the overtime that she's putting in just so that they can make it, like I said, her children are fucking awful. I love all the kids from it. Yeah, Dewey and Reese and Malcolm and Francis. That was what the other one was called. And I don't know. I just thought it was sweet that it's like, there are some times where you're like, God, mom's a real fucking hard ass. Like, holy shit. And then you're like, oh yeah, it's because they want to survive and they want to do what's best for us. But oh no, I as an adult, I way more enjoy her because when I was a kid, I still loved her as a kid, but I was like, man, she's so mean, and you're like, oh yeah, her children are worthless.
No, I never saw Malcolm in the Middle. Sorry.
Which is a shame.
But I can just imagine. I feel as if that's a trope that we see a lot. Oh, the nagging mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I think as you get older, you probably sit there and realize that you kind of have to be like that, especially if you have those rowdy of children. So I think that a lot of people probably, as they got older, kind of had more of an appreciation or at least an understanding as to why Lois was the way she was.
Yeah, but that's like, I do love when they kind of explain like that. There's even like, I think that show is really good for showing like, even like, Hal at some point, I think he remembers to do something for her, or it was something sweet where she's so upset and she goes, no, that can't be. Because if that's true, that means, you love me more. Because I think it was like she forgot something important and he didn't forget it and she was upset about it. And he's like, of course I love you more. He's like, and that's not wrong. He goes, but that's what I want. Like it was explaining like two people can't love each other equally. He was super fine, being the one that took care of her. Because I think that was the thing, is he was a lot more of the nurturing sort, and he's like, and that's just kind of our place in life. And because they both still loved each other, it was just that she had a lot on her and expressing it in a certain way, and he was fine with that. And I don't know, I just thought that was really sweet as a kid.
Aw, I love it. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you, and I know that Malcolm in the Middle like holds a really good place in people's hearts, especially in our age bracket.
I
I don't
know.
know why.
I can't believe you never watched it.
I really think I say this a lot, but I really think it's because when I was younger, I was still watching. I was still watching cartoons when everyone else in my age bracket started watching more live action things because they thought to themselves, "Oh, well, that's what we have to. We can't be watching cartoons anymore. We want to be cool kids." And I knew that I was never going to be a cool kid, so I continued watching my freaking anime.
All right. Well, I try to remember. I think I only started watching it because Mom would put it on in the morning. So that and Golden Girls.
Oh, thank you for being
Being
a
a
friend.
friend. Oh God, Gia. No, what have you done?
Travel down the road and back again.
Don't get me started. I have that song known by heart.
Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. No, okay, let me stop.
Get out of here.
Have you seen the TikTok of the one guy who kind of goes crazy while singing the theme song?
No, I have not.
Oh my god, it's on TikTok and now people use the voice thing and it's supposed to be when I invite my friends over and we watch Golden Girls and it's just them like freestyling to the song and the friend looking at them like, what is wrong with you?
What is going on inside their head? And it's like, what's going on inside their head?
Oh my god. But yeah, I love it. Good choice for number 6. I'll take number 5. Okay, I'm gonna go with Olivia Benson from SVU.
That's a good one. Look
Because,
at you.
I know, so obviously Olivia Benson since, God, what season was it? Like season 16, I think, had Noah, right?
Yeah.
But before I get into the Noah part, hang on one sec. I gotta look because I forget the kid's name. Yeah, okay. So before Noah, right? Seasons beforehand, I want to say like season 9 or 8 or something like that, right? She actually had this other kid named Calvin, who she didn't officially adopt him, right? The whole thing was that, really quick backstory, because that's not really where I'm going at with this one, but the whole thing is that, you know, Olivia found out that she had another sister out there, and the sister was a drug addict, so the sister drops off her kind of already teenage son at Benson's, but Benson really loves Calvin, and she takes really good care of him and really just, like, treats Calvin like her own until freaking like a time goes by when you find out that this girl actually isn't Benson's sister. They thought that they had the same dad. And then the mom comes back and takes Calvin, and like Benson's super devastated. So there's that. But then, yeah, and then seasons later, Olivia Benson adopts Noah, who's the child of this like drug addict. I think she was also like a forced prostitute. She unfortunately gets killed, and so there's no one to take care of Noah. Noah keeps bouncing from foster family to foster family until Benson, like...
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Finally says, you know, I'll take the baby, and then she officially adopts Noah. She is such a good mom. And not for nothing, Noah is a little shit.
Yeah, he was like a little monster at some point. He was having like severe like behavioral issues at some point in the show, I think.
He was, because, and I see this a lot too online where people say, can we just get Calvin back? Because Calvin was an angel, like compared to Noah. Not that he was a bad kid. he obviously was a little older and I guess could comprehend things a little more and knew that his mom was like down a bad path. So you kind of liked Calvin's dynamic with Benson better. But Noah was a little shit. And I know you can say, oh, well, little kids throw temper tantrums. I just feel like Noah specifically was throwing temper tantrums. I couldn't stand him. But Benson is still a good mom because out of the kindness of her heart, she took this kid in when no one else wanted him, and she had, dedicated like 110%, even to the point where, like, I don't know if you remember, but when Benson first was fostering Noah, the, child protective care people kept giving her shit because she's also a detective for SVU, so she obviously has to work, and they would be giving her shit for not being there for Noah and all that. But she was such a good mom, and there even seemed at some point where she was like, do I have to quit the force just to be a parent? That she would have, because that's how good of a parent she is.
For such a shit little kid.
For such a shit kid. I remember there was one episode where she was
because I'm like, oh yeah, he is a kid, but I'm also like, fuck that kid.
No. Sometimes when they do episodes and they have no, I'm like, oh god, stop it! I hate this kid.
And never mention the child ever.
Yeah, exactly. Which is wrong because he, as you said, is a kid. But no, I hate him.
That kid.
Fuck that kid. But Benson's so good. My favorite is there's an episode where the episode clearly was dealing with the whole fact that a lot of parents weren't vaccinating their kids. So Benson was dealing with this woman who didn't believe in vaccinating her kid, and then her kid got Noah sick, and it looked like for a second Noah wasn't going to make it. And Benson just like turned into ultra protective mom. She was like, I'm mom first and detective later. And she, I swear, almost bitch slapped this woman. And I loved it so much.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That would have been a good way to write him off, though.
I almost thought the same thing.
I'm just going to say it, Dia. We're going to wrote this motherfucker off.
People are going to be like, wow, these two girls are messed up. They're trying to, like, kill this kid. I feel like I'm kind of an OG SVU fan, so I had to. But, I haven't watched a whole lot of it. But, yeah, Benson is just such a good mom. She continues being a good mom.
Yeah, she does. She is a great mom. I lady that's like having a million fucking babies, which I know she's having babies IRL, so it's fine. I get it. But I still think it's kind of funny because it's like, oh, she's pregnant again.
Have you? No, that's wait, Benson, or are you talking about Rollins? Because Rollins.
I'm talking about Rollins.
Yeah, Rollins. Which Rollins is a good mom too. I think Carisi is a better stepdad to her kids than
right? Dude, she keeps getting with fucking deadbeats.
I know. She never gets with the right guys when the right guy is just standing in front of her.
Is their baby. Always has been.
Like, open your eyes, girl. Open your eyes.
Receipt for days.
But so yeah, freaking whatchamacallit, Carisi's definitely the better stepdad to Rollins' kids.
Fucking
but
deadbeat.
I was also going to say that really quick. Have you watched the reunion between Benson and Stabler?
I have not. I heard you said it was good though. Like it was very like the way that they got to see each other again after so long, which I thought was a good way to do it, because how do you make these two people meet, organically after so long?
Well, my whole thing that I had thought, like I had said that, it's weird seeing Stabler and Benson back together, and it kind of does feel like time has passed. But I kind of like that. I like that it isn't oh, no time has passed at all. Like, a lot of time has passed. And it's awkward. But I like that it's awkward because, when Stabler left, that really hurt Benson. So I'm glad that it's not just, oh, look, they're back together and everything's buddy-buddy. And they're picking right back up where they left off. It's like, no, they're not at all. So I do appreciate that. But the one thing I want to say was, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched it, they kill off Stabler's wife right away. And Stabler has... Oh, did you not know they kill off Stabler's wife? That's how Benson and Stabler reunite. Benson's just driving one day and sees this whole big, car crash, and she stops to be like, hey, I'm law enforcement, can I help? And then she sees that it's Stabler's wife, Kathy, because she knew Kathy, and she's like, Kathy? And that's how they reunite. And then Kathy dies at the end of the episode, and Stabler has, 5 kids. So, freaking, even Benson is such a good, I guess, woman model in their life to try and console them, because she knows them all. So I'm just saying, Benson is amazing.
She's the best mom. It's kind of fucked up though that they're just like, I'm gonna get shit. She's dead.
And you know what's crazy? So obviously Christopher Maloney, who plays Stabler, they brought him back. But as someone again who was a big time watcher of the show, they brought back everyone else. They brought back the actual actress who played Kathy and the actual actors who played his kids. So that's really messed up if they contacted the actress and they're like, hey, do you want to play Kathy again? And it's like, oh yeah, cool. What is my role now? Oh, well, we're going to kill you off. We're bringing you back to kill you off.
Beautiful. We love a good death, Tia.
We love a good death. But yeah. So Olivia Benson is my number 5. Brittany, what's your number 4?
I'm going to go with, you're kind of going to laugh at me, okay?
Okay.
I hope I'm saying her name correctly. Kala from Tarzan. Tarzan's mother.
Oh,
yeah. Because you gotta think about what was his name? Kojak? Who was
the dad.
The dad who was fucking pissed. Because not for nothing, Tarzan was fucking brutal. You watch you don't watch it, but you see the fucking Tarzan's dead parents lying in the corner of the room and the blood on the floor, and then you get to see poor little baby gorilla get eaten by the fucking leopard. Holy shit! I remember that scaring the shit out of me as a kid. I was like, oh, they're fine. As a kid, I don't think you fully accept what just happened. And Kala's, definitely grieving. Here's a baby crying. And even though they're not the same species, ends up, adopting him. No matter, Kojak was still, you start to realize how much he was dealing with the loss of his child. When you think, oh, he doesn't care. He's a gorilla. What do they care? And it's like, no, it pretty, messed with him pretty good. You know what I mean? So he's dealing with that, and it's she's dealing with the fact that she had to freaking risk her life. She's dealing with the fact that she lost her baby too. And, we do see throughout, the movie just how deep her love is, because she has that part where, he's Tarzan when he's a child, and he's throwing the mud on himself and just feeling like such an outcast. And, he's like, I'm not like y'all, I'll never be one of you. And she's like, well, you have 2 ears like me, and you have 2 eyes like me, and you got 2 feet like me. She's like, really, we're not so different. And I think it was just really trying to, make a point there where she's like, no matter how you look, you're still my child. No matter, anything, you're still my child. And I don't know, I just thought it was so sweet and sincere.
It's very emotional. I love Tarzan, by the way. That movie was brutal because if you remember, not only do you see the blood of the dead parents, but the end when the bad guy literally hangs himself. I mean, that's brutal.
I know, I'm laughing. It's fucked up.
But I really love Tarzan. I love the relationship that him and Kala had. It was so beautiful. You're right. That scene where she points out the similarities between them was just so great. I kind of ended up liking. Was it Cujo or Kuzak? I forget what you said.
I think it was Kojak.
Kojak. Okay. Yeah, I ended up liking him. At the end, even though in the beginning you're like, why is he such a hard ass? But I think you understood him, especially as you get older. Because I guess to him, he's like, I'm still grieving our child. And my wife is just so easily accepting this human boy who, he's a human. Not only are they the wrong species, but also his species are what's killing us and destroying the forests and everything. And so you kind of understood, and humans are actually the worst. So.
We are the worst, to be fair. Also, he keeps trying to make that point to Tarzan. I hate when he finally earns, Tarzan earns his respect because, he ends up killing the leopard.
Oh, that was such a good scene!
Yeah, but freaking, but then, it turns around and, he brings, Jane to see them, and it's, instant disrespect. And he's like, you're meant to protect us. And it's like, all you ever wanted was to earn his love, and you finally got it. And now there's this bullshit happening.
Do you kind of look back and you go, fucking Jane?
Fucking Jane, right?
Because doesn't the bad guy kill him? That's what I'm saying. It's like, you dumb shit, Tarzan.
Right. Oh, poor Tarzan.
I know.
Poor
but poor everyone in that movie.
Poor everyone. Holy shit.
They really, the dad was such an idiot, by the way. Not Tarzan's dad, but Jane's dad.
I know.
So dumb.
Fucker.
But, whatchamacallit, by the way, wasn't the best scene in that movie when they have the musical number, by the camp and everything, mm-hmm. And it's Rosie O'Donnell's character. I loved her.
By the way, did you watch how they made that scene? There was something shown how they did it. Now, it made me love that scene even more when they're explaining, how they made the sounds for it by actually, beating real instruments. And as a kid, I was like, no way. And I'm like, well, obviously now as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, they had to make a sound somehow, but there's something so much better hearing it that way.
Wait, there's another great thing on TikTok where it's supposed to be, say, the studio person speaking to Phil Collins, and they're like, all right, Phil, we're just going to bring you in. It's a Disney movie. You don't have to go that hard. And then it's Phil Collins just, breaking out the most amazing songs, and the studio people just, shocked. I want to know.
Dude, it was so intense. I was like, dang, dude. This is fucking thought a dude being raised by gorillas.
It's like, Phil, you don't have to go as crazy. It's a Disney movie. And Phil's like, I only know one speed, and that's crazy.
Oh, shit.
But anyway, sorry. Kala from Tarzan is an amazing choice. Oh, God. So, you were putting out such good ones. I definitely want to go back and rewatch Tarzan.
I love it. When I was looking through, I was like, you know what? That was a good fucking mom.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. So, yes, Kala from Tarzan. I'm going to hit the next one. I know that I did this on my last list, but I kind of don't care because I love her so much. and it's going to be Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
Yes, that's a great one.
Oh, Bobby. But yeah,
mom every single fucking time, though. Every time.
You're not the only one. Like Cindy and Brian always say that Linda Belcher reminds them of my mom, and my mom has no idea who she is. So I try and explain, and she's like, "Okay."
You ever you mean it as like the greatest compliment, but you're afraid the person will find it insulting?
Oh no, I definitely know my mom's like confused as hell, and she's like, "Should I be insulted?" It's like, no, it's such a good compliment. You have no idea. But Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers is just such a phenomenal mom. First of all, she loves Bobby, right, with all her heart. She is so such a fun character. She goes with the flow. She loves her kids despite how effing weird they are. And they are weird. They are the 3 weirdest children ever. But she loves them and she accepts them. Like whenever Tina is going through her crazy teenage puberty shit, she just goes with it. There was one episode where Linda, albeit it's not the best advice, but it came from a really good place, where she was telling Tina to not be ashamed of her freaky fan fiction, and instead she should read it out loud to the whole school. And you're like, I get where you're going with this, Linda. That wasn't the best advice, but at least you're supportive.
My mom was like, go read your fan fiction at school. I'd be like, lady, are you trying to kill me? Are you trying to ruin the non-existent school career I have here?
Yeah, exactly. But she's she's super supportive of Gene and his musical career, which I don't think Gene is a very good musical person. But again, Linda just being that rock star mom, and even with Louise, she knows that Louise is more of a daddy's girl. She's have you ever seen the episode where she takes Louise to that mommy and me sort of
one with the vagina?
Yes. And at the end, when they're doing the laser tag, and Linda says to Louise, "I just wish you liked me," and I was like, I want to cry. This is so not right.
Didn't she go that she does like her? She just what was it?
I mean, Louise is kind of I love you. You're my mom, but you have to accept that we're different. The things that you do with Tina aren't the same things that I'm gonna enjoy. You have to understand that.
Girl. She's such a daddy's girl.
Yeah, exactly. But and then the best thing is Linda is such a protective mama bear too, though, because anytime she finds out that something happened with her children, the one episode where she finds out that frickin' Louise was when she finds out that Tina was being bullied by Tammy, she gets so angry. Or when she finds out that Louise was being bullied by Logan, she gets so frickin' mad, or when she finds out that Jimmy Jr.'s dad called her kids weird. She's so good. I love Linda. I love Linda from Boston. We love Linda.
And Linda.
I love that whole family, though. Bob is great, too.
Bob is great. When you're like, dude, this seems a little stressed out, but it's oh yeah, it's because he's trying to give his family, everything they need in life.
Linda's so funny when she's like, mommy doesn't get drunk, she gets fun.
Oh shit! That I can agree with that.
I don't know, she's just hilarious. I stan Linda so much. I was looking before we did this at lists, right, of what other people were saying of who they think are good moms in TV and movies. And I saw some people putting, say, Lois and shit like that. And I was from Family Guy. Yeah, I didn't understand that. I thought Lois is a horrible mom, but I guess to each his own. But I said to myself, nah, it's all about Linda. Like,
Linda.
And I love that, by the way, about the show Bob's Burgers, because it is really wacky and crazy, but they at least show a loving family, because you definitely don't get that in Family Guy. Like, they're all horrible to each other.
Poor Meg. Even though Meg is pretty fucking awful as the series goes on, she does some freaky shit.
That's what I'm saying. They're all crazy. And same thing with American Dad. So to me, it's nice that you have this weird, wacky cartoon, but the family's weird as shit, but they still are this loving family that at the end of the day would do anything for each other.
Yeah.
And I love it.
No, I agree. I like it. I like
it. So yeah, my number 3 is Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers. Brittany, what is your number 2?
I am gonna go with Fantine. I hope I'm saying her name correctly, from Les Mis. Have you seen Les Mis?
Yes, of course.
I was gonna say that's the mother of, oh God, what's her name? Cosette? What's her name? Cosette?
Which one is the one that Anne Hathaway cries for, like, the whole time that she's on screen?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, because Fantine is the mother of her. Like,
okay.
yeah, it's the mother. Because you find out, Fantine, she fell in love with a man, and, who promised he was gonna marry her and love her. And before getting married, because, during those times, it was very, 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 very frowned upon. And ends up, pregnant out of wedlock and ends up having a daughter. Well, she ends up working at a factory. I think, she got preferential treatment because the boss, who was really a hard ass, really liked her and was very fond of her. And I think she was lying about the situation with her daughter, or nobody knew. And the women there were really petty and out that, she has a child out of wedlock, and she ends up getting fired. And this is during, oh God, was it during the French? No.
It is the French Revolution.
It's the French Revolution, yeah. And which is funny coming from me, I fucking love the French Revolution, but I sat there, I was like, wait a second. So it's a time where everyone's starving, she's fairly sure, her and her child are going to starve. And, she has this scene, where, she sings about, she wanted so much more from life, but, just a series of unfortunate events led her down this path. And, she just wants to take care of her daughter, and she ends up, letting them take her hair, to make a wig from it and get the money from it. There's a scene where she lets them take some of her teeth, just to be able to afford. And then, ultimately she ends up becoming a prostitute. And, and that was the big thing about when Hugh Jackman's character, ends up, being with her for her last, dying moments, she wants him to go find her daughter. I think that it's been a long time since I've seen this, so I could be getting things wrong. But, he goes after her daughter because you find out, she couldn't take care of her, so she sent her to live with these these
horrible people, right?
They have a breakfast type situation, right? I don't know if that's what they would have called it. And you find out Anne Hathaway's character, Fantine, she's been doing all these things, letting, prostituting herself, doing, losing everything just to afford for them to take care of her child and send them money. I think that was it. I think she had sent her off to live with them, even though she was working, but, pretending that she didn't have a child, basically, to be able to still work, and that's so crazy that you wouldn't be allowed to have a job just because, you had a child out of wedlock. How insane is that? But, and you find out they swindled away all that money. None of that money went to that child, because it was supposed to be enough to, take care of her. They kept saying, oh, she needs more. She needs, new clothes. She needs more food. And it's she's just starving and, being so, mistreated and abused, and and Hugh Jackman's character does ultimately save her and raise her as his own. But it's so fucking sad. Like, it's just the ultimate motherly sacrifice to take care of her child. I couldn't imagine, doing all those things, but you do it for, your child.
No, yeah, I mean, I remember seeing Les Mis and just being heartbroken with Fantine's storyline. I knew, because I didn't see Les Mis when it first came out. I didn't see it when it first came out, so I knew Anne Hathaway had this big, emotional number, and I knew that shot was done in one shot. That's really her losing her hair.
Yeah, like, shit.
Yeah, so she had to have been feeling those emotions, but it's such a powerful scene. It's a powerful character. That really becomes, say, almost like a symbol of how selfless mothers can be, that they literally are willing to forego everything about themselves just to take care of their children. Because, as you said, she lost her hair, she lost her teeth, she began selling herself, and it is during a time, because I remember watching the movie and everyone's making the biggest deal, like, oh my god, she had her child out of wedlock, and, you hear, like, people are single parents and no one blinks an eye, but back then it was like...
out of there the moment he found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, and of course, it's always the woman's fault, I mean, not the dude who literally just, like, upped and left, right? But if freaking, yeah, that was a powerful character, and I think definitely she deserves to be on this list. I almost forgot about that. And aren't you a big fan of the French Revolution? You should have remembered.
Oh, dude, I love the French Revolution so much. I think for me, it's because when I imagine the French Revolution in my head, it seems so much older. And so when you watch it, say, in the aspect of Les Mis, where it does, even though it's, very old, it does feel somewhat more modern, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, it seems more, it makes it feel... Even though it's a movie, it feels more like real. Like, you feel like you can relate to it easier than seeing, pictures, like paintings of the kings and the queen. Seeing it as, drawings rather than, actual people acting it out. It makes it seem almost like a different world.
Whatchamacallit said. What was I going to say? I have somewhere to go. Not to get too political, right? But during a certain election that just happened, when a certain candidate won, I definitely played the song from Les Mis, the one where they're all like, waving the flags and everything and celebrating their revolution.
That song's called.
I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm like,
I can't think of it. Dude, I remember that song. That song's so powerful.
It is so powerful. What is it? I'm trying to look, and it's like, I don't remember any of these.
I just remember it always goes, you have the bad character that's always hunting down Jean Valjean, or Jean Valjean. I can't remember how to say his name. I think that was the main character, and then there's... what the fuck was his name? I don't remember. Dude, it's been so long, and I'm horrible at French, dude. I failed my French test. I'm struggling busing it here. Okay.
Oh, do you hear the people sing? That's the one.
Yeah. It was like same with the evil characters, like they will wet themselves with blood. I'm like, that was always such an intense line to me.
Right. So, yes, during a certain recent election, when a certain candidate won and a certain candidate lost, I definitely played that song in the background as my victory cry.
Shit, bitch.
But I'll stay quiet on so to not get too political on our podcast here. It's just funny. I've never heard someone like before you, right, who would say that they were so interested in reading about the French Revolution. It's not a bad thing. It's just when people are, say, researching wars or events, World War II comes up, Vietnam, the Renaissance and all that, right? But no one talks maybe necessarily about the French Revolution. I just think that's very interesting because it is an interesting moment in time to learn about.
I told my French professor, I said I'd be terrified to be a politician in France. I go, the French are like, and we'll do it again. And he just started laughing. He goes, it's true. He's like, it's true. We are very open about how we feel about our politicians.
What country was it where the whole thing happened with Anastasia?
Russia. It was during the bourgeoisie, and it was when basically they overthrew the upper class, and they because that was when I can't remember if it was strictly communism coming into play. I know there was like a lead up of events of it, and I can't remember if the French Revolution happened first or that one happened first, because all of it was like late 1800s, early 1900s that happened. I can't remember the exact timing.
I'm only saying because I would be afraid to be, say, an upper class person in Russia then, because then I would just have the whole mindset of, they'll do it again.
Yeah, it's like, get wealthy, but not too wealthy.
Yeah, oh God. But whatchamacallit, great job on the number 2. We are down to the number 1 on our top 10 best moms in TV and movies. Let's go down the list until we get to our number 1. We have Charlotte from Charlotte's Web, Aunt Pole from Peaky Blinders, Miss Honey from Matilda, Red from Orange is the New Black, Lois from Malcolm in the Middle, Olivia Benson from SVU, Kala from Tarzan, Linda from Bob's Burgers, Fantine from Les Mis, and I'm going to put Wanda from WandaVision.
Oh, shit. You know what? I didn't see it coming, but now I see it. I see it right there.
I'm going to do full spoilers, all right? I know you haven't seen it, but I also know you don't really mind spoilers. So for the people who are listening, full spoilers. If you haven't watched it. But in WandaVision, you have Wanda, who after Endgame is absolutely heartbroken over the loss of everyone, specifically Vision, the love of her life. And it's really sad because you find out that Vision, before, say, the events of Infinity War, literally bought a plot of land in New Jersey for them to have a house to have a future with. And so Wanda goes to this place in New Jersey and essentially creates her own world where her and Vision have a loving marriage and, a good life. And then she gets pregnant. Wanda gets pregnant at some point.
Did she get herself pregnant?
They never explain that. Because
the children are real, by the way. Are the children technically real?
No, they're not. I mean, it's confusing because in the show, right, Wanda creates this whole world around her, and you find out that the Vision in the world is a vision that she's created out of herself from the Mind Stone. But this Vision cannot leave the parameters of the world because he tries to at some point. He starts disintegrating. So he can't. So then she becomes pregnant and she has twins. And she is like the best mom. She loves her kids. She is like ultra protective mama bear right away. Anytime someone from the outside tries to come in and like fucks with her kids, she's pissed at it. Everything is like about the kids. The Halloween episode with her children is absolutely adorable. And she's ultra alert about them all the time, right? And whatchamacallit, And she's just like a really good mom, because this is everything she's always wanted, is having the love of her life and having children with him. She just wants this nice little life. And of course, as the series progresses, you find out that she really can't have this at all because it's not real. And she has to fight against the main villain, Agatha Harkness, and all that, who actually takes her children at some point hostage. And that's when Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch. It's amazing, the reveal. But again, this is where the spoilers come into play. You know, at the end of the show, her and Vision kind of realizing that this isn't real, and she needs to kind of accept that and release the people from the town, because there are real people in that town that have just been underneath her control this whole time. But this is realization that this Vision will go away, and also these children will go away. So the show ends with her tucking her kids in and her going to them, "Thank you for picking me to be your mom." And it's her and Vision downstairs looking at the walls coming in from her, like, border disappearing, and everyone disappearing, and then it's just her again. And I'm like, I can't.
You know what that makes me think of? Do you remember in Justice League the episode called, which it's like for the man that has everything? And it's about, you know, Superman gets a gift of, like, you know, that plant that ends up attaching itself to his chest, and it puts him into basically a coma. And in the coma, you know, he's trying to, like, in it, you know, Krypton, I think that's how you say it, was still alive, you know, that he's lived his entire life there, you know, that he's married to Lois Lane and has a son, you know, somehow, you know, she's there, and he has a son, and he loves his son, you know. But the thing is that they can't get this thing off of him, you know, Batman and Wonder Woman, and they're trying to get it off so desperately, but they can't. Because what's his face? I can't remember his name. He was a villain, you know, ended up doing it to him. And, you know, in it, Superman is slowly realizing, you know, his father's the one that realized, you know, the planet was going to basically self-destruct. And in it, you know, he's kind of realizing that this place isn't real. And when he comes to that realization, you know, his son's like, you know, "I'm scared, Dad." And he's like, "I'm sorry, but you're not real." And he's just, like, so attached to the son that he has in that fake world, and has to let him go, you know, to snap out of this coma. But it's like he loves the son so much, you know, it's so hard for him because he's basically letting him die, you know, in his mind. And it's like, that's what it kind of reminds me with Wanda. It's like, even though they're not real, it's like, to her, they very much were real.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, like, her sons also have powers, right? One of them has the powers similar to Quicksilver, and then one of them has powers very similar to Wanda. So, the creator of WandaVision, I believe, confirmed that at the end, the one son who has the telepathy powers knew that was going to happen. Like, knew that this what was happening to them. But the confusing part comes in because after the show, in the end credits, because at this point Wanda has found out she's the Scarlet Witch. She is like the all-knowing, all-powerful being, stronger and more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, aka Doctor Strange. So there's a scene at the very end where she's studying this book, like this dark book and everything, right? And she's sitting there very similar to how, like, Doctor Strange does when he's, like, floating in air, kind of like, you know, going through things. And she's doing that, and you hear Mom, and it's like from one of her children. It's like, are her kids real? Did she find a way to, like, bring them out from that fictional world into the real world? Like, what's going on?
I hope she does, because that's going to be fucking sad if not.
It sucks because
she sent me. That's so fucking sad, Tia.
I sent Brittany the scene where Wanda tells the boys, thank you for choosing me to be your mom. I'm like, I can't deal with it.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was just such a great mom in this. And the show was very much, say, a family show. Just her, like, literally all Wanda wanted was to just be with Vision and have some children. And that's all she wanted. And it's like, you couldn't even give her that.
Oh no. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will.
Wanda has the best lines. I'm sorry. That's great.
You know what? And I thought she was going to go one off because her brother, and it makes sense that she would have twins since, hereditary to have twins if you're a twin. And I never really pieced that together until I was like, oh yeah, she had a brother. Oh, forgot about that.
Yeah. The show kind of plays around with that as well because they bring in the actor who played Quicksilver in the Fox universe to play, quote unquote, her brother. It's not, spoiler alert again, it's not her real brother, but it's just funny that they kind of toyed around with that. But yeah, I'm glad that she's not a one-off. And this show kind of redacted some things because now they can, now that Disney owns Fox, right? So in this, they're full on saying, no, you're Scarlet Witch. You've had powers even before you were experimented on. Those just kind of unlocked it. But actually, the reason why that bomb never went off isn't just because it happened to never go off. It didn't go off because you subconsciously were willing it to not go off.
Right. That's fucking insane. She's like way too strong. She OP.
When they say Captain Marvel and Thor are the strongest Avengers, it's like Wanda just busts down the door and says, surprise, bitch!
That's like a subplot. They're like, we want more strong female character, and they're like, we already gave you one, and it's like before everything, it's like, who? And it's like Scarlet Witch. And they're like, no, she's not strong. And then you go on later, you're like, oh, yeah. Okay, I see it now.
I mean, she kind of says it, right, in Civil War. She says something to Black Widow along the lines of, I can move things with my mind, right? But then as the stuff went on, it's like, no. She doesn't just move things with her mind. Like, WandaVision really showed how strong she was. She literally created an entire town to herself. Not only created an entire town, controlled everyone in that town, and then created a vision, and then created children. What the hell?
What the hell?
I love
the
her.
Hecaroni with the cheese.
The whole entire time I was watching the show, I was like, I love you.
Love it.
But yeah, so Wanda's definitely my number one choice for top 10 moms in TV show and movies. Before we wrap everything up here, Brittany, do you have any honorable mentions that you'd like to put out there?
I think all I had was the ones where I was kind of confused with. I was going to do Mrs. Brisby from The Secret of NIMH, Andy's mom from Toy Story. I was also going to do Helen Parr from The Incredibles. I'm gonna go with freaking Debbie from Invincible. I love her. Strong woman. Dealing with so much bullshit.
I was gonna say you're not gonna put the woman from Invincible. You've been loving that.
Love Debbie. She's intense. There's like, I love it like when you do see them getting into arguments and it's like she's like, I don't care that you're the world's strongest man. I'll put my foot down, bitch.
I will fucking put my foot down. You don't even know. You don't even know. My honorable mentions would be Michonne from The Walking Dead because I loved her relationship with Carl. I didn't get to see much of the Judith years, but I mean, I saw when she was an infant and Michonne would take care of her, but I know that they had a much more expansive relationship as Judith got older. But just even the way Michonne was with Carl just showed me enough. She was a better mother to Carl than Lori was. I don't know if you remember Lori, but Lori was not that great of a mom. She was always losing her kid.
She was too busy bumping uglies with Shane and then being mad at him.
That is very true. That's very true. Can we blame her? But which is and then I was going to do Morticia Adams from the Addams Family because we love the Addams Family. And I know that I put this probably on the last list, so I didn't want to put it on the main list, but as an honorable mention, I of course have to put Freya, Thor's mom.
Oh, that was from the last one. I remember. God, it's been a long time.
A year. A year, an exact year. Yeah, Freya was an awesome mom to Thor, so I really like that. But yeah, Brittany, this has been a great top 10 moms in movies and TV shows. I hope everyone who's listening spends a great Mother's Day with their moms and mom figures. Remember, a mom can be anyone, and that's amazing. So, Brittany, before I let you go today, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you, what you got going on?
I'm gonna say you can always find me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit. I just recently, last night, I hit 2,000 followers, and I'm really excited about it. Except I'm dreading it, because I made a deal that if I hit 2,000 followers, I was going to play Five Nights at Freddy VR, and I'm going to throw up, Tia. I'm going to throw up. I'm not excited for it, but I am excited to have hit 2,000 and to have fun with everyone. And you can also find me at Itty Bitty Brit 0 at Gmail. Not Gmail. Why did I say Gmail? Fucking Twitter. Dude, my brain is rotted. I ate so much bibimbap before this fucking podcast. I'm full and happy.
Everyone, please make sure that you check that out. Brittany is a very dedicated streamer who spends much of her time entertaining you all. So please check that out. I was going to say, if I filmed how much GTA 5 I played, I could have had a little Twitch career on that shit. But I don't know if I want to beat the game again for a third time because I'm on my second time. So and I beat it already. So whatchamacallit. But as for me, please make sure if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe to our YouTube page, which is Geek Vibes Podcast. We are only a few followers away from hitting 1,000 followers, which would be awesome. I have tons of interviews there. All of our top 10s are there, so please make sure you check that out, as well as following us. GeekVibesNation.com has links to all of our social media accounts. You can find my Twitter and Instagram, TC_Stark. Please make sure you check that out. And yeah, let us know who you think is a top 10 mom in TV and movies. If you recently watched The Falcon and the Winter Soldier